some more shading. Slightly different this time. I used a pencil to illustrate basics in my last video, and what I thought I'd do in this one is I'd show you some like hard line black shade. I say hard line, most of it would be hard line. By hard line I mean like solid line shading without crosshatch. I might use a little bit of crosshatch just because, but I'm working in the CUTE colouring book today. I've still got a few of these left if anybody's into them, but they've sold like hotcakes, to be honest. So yeah, I've only got a handful left now, but yeah, this is a good one because this is so a lot of them in here later on particularly got a bit more black line on them, just to give you a bit more depth to begin with, you know. These bit more depth, bit more, you know, all that, whereas this is very stripped away, really stripped away. This is basically just like, this is what do you call it, wireframe work drawings, you know, just the outlines of stuff, which means there's lots of leeway to be able to show you shading. So I'm going to show you the pencil first of all. If we think about light source coming in from there, right hand side, so what the plane, so this is this plane of his peak, that's in direct sunlight, right? Direct sunlight, so that's very, very light, so we're going to leave that completely white. Underneath that peak, that's going to be black, right? So take it down to this eyebrow, because the eyebrow is a different plane, this eyebrow, and then probably, in fact, probably all of his forehead is going to be covered in shadow, then probably some of his eyebrows as well. So that's going to be a problem. The reason it's going to be a problem is because we're only working black, and that's right up to that line. What you don't want to do is do black up to that line, then have to do black beyond that line that is going to muddy that line. So we're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Again, same with this. This is the underneath of his brim, and that's his forehead. Both of them are black, which kills the delineation of where that line is. So for now, I'm going to leave that. What I would probably do, in all honesty, is I would put a crosshatch on that, which is a bit of a cheat, but it would it would save me from losing that. Otherwise, all you get is you just get a big swathe of black, which ain't no good to anybody, because you can't distinguish the shapes, so it ruins it. So I'm gonna start putting some of this in so you can see what I'm talking about. So okay, here we go. Let's blacken. I've got a bit of black. A big chunk. What you want is a big chunky black if you're going to cover lots and lots of space. So here we go. I'll take it, and for now I'm just going to take it up to the top of his brow, because we haven't dealt with that bit yet. There we go. So there's a big fat shadow gone in there. Just clean that up a little bit. I'm going to try and work a bit neater so you can see what I mean as well. Now what I meant by putting crosshatch in here to shade this bit is this. Now this is a bit of a cheat, I will confess, because it's not a true depiction of what it would be like, but it's a very quick way of just adding some shade, just using black line, and you can still delineate between these two parts. You see what I mean by that? I'm sure you do. You're intelligent people. Okay, so next bit we need to look at his brows. Now I've talked about this in a previous video. The shape of this is like a cylinder. So if light's coming down there, it's hitting the top. Now it's not completely hitting the top, it's got to be a bit of shadow. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit the shadow off the line. Put it in with the pencil so you can see what I mean. I'm going to sit it off the line so we don't lose that shape. Now, as long as I know it's going to sit there, now I've got to work out where this line is. Because again, I've got the same problem here. And the reason I've got the same problem here is this bit, see this, all this in there? That is very, very dark. In fact, I may as well put that in right now. Now, I don't want to lose all the shape here either. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to curve the shadow around a little bit, like that. And just for this bit, I'm going to do a little tiny bit of crosshatch. Just to delineate a gradation. That is to show a gradation of light from no light at all to a bit of light. So now, if I was to just black this bit, same problem. Lose all that shape, so I'm not going to do that. What I'll do instead is I will sit the shadow off there again. And really, you know, this is solely your discretion. You know, if you can make, it's up to you to make this look like it's a solid object, right? A three-dimensional object. So you've got to work it out. You've got to work it out. I've got to work it out. Okay, I'm working it out now. I'm doing my best. This is how I'm going to link it up. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. So take that around. I won't take that all the way down. I'll take it to about there. There you go. See how that works. Now that might not work. And honestly, when I've inked it, it'll be too late. If I want a white line, you know, white something out, then I could do that. But I'd rather take the risk, personally. So there you go. I'm going to put it in. Run that all the way down to that line. There we go. Now, who knows if this is going to work or not? Not me right now. Let's see what it looks like. Good. Okay, the first thing that becomes apparent is that these shapes don't quite work for me. So I'm going to kill that there. Also, there's too much white. There's far too much white around there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill some of that white. Okay, kill some of that white off, and might just do, this is a bit of a cheat as well, a bit of crosshatch there. Now that is, to me, that's not a great shape, but I can just about get away with it, I think. If I put another one in this side. I reckon it'll be alright. Okay, so I did down there with that. Okay, that'll do me. Good. Right. Now, let's move on to his cheekbones for now. See that shape there? Set, like I said, it's a sphere like that. So I light it accordingly. I'm setting it back. I'm setting the shadow off the line. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'd like to take the shadow behind that up to that line. You can't have it both ways. If I took that shadow all the way to the line and that shadow all the way to the line, I just lose that line and suddenly it's just a mess of black. That's all it is. Okay, yeah. Same with that line there. See, underneath, I take it, I sit it off that line so I can take this black right up to that line, and then I take that off the side there. Let's get that in. I could go much heavier, by the way, with these shadows if I wanted to. You could really start blacking stuff in. That's for another time. I always start to rush these things when I'm on a video, because I feel that people are going to get bored, or I'm going to have to go in a time lapse or something. Bit down here as well. I should be talking you through my processes here. So the idea is, light is coming in from this way. So all this right hand side, this is all light. Bit in his nostrils there, look. That'd be a bit of a shadow, wouldn't it? Be a bit of shadow in there. And probably be, if his nose, so his nose sticks up a bit as well. So his nose that sits off his face a little bit, there'll be a bit of a shadow coming off that. Something like maybe that. It's worth saying actually that if you start to observe shadow in life, like all good artists do, you'll start to notice that sometimes realistic shadows do not work in art. We have to choose, as artists, we have to choose what shadows we use. Because I've done that thing before where I've done really realistic shadows. I used to work a lot more realistically than I do now. I work in cartoons mostly now. But yeah, you can put realistic shadows on things and it looks awful. See this here? Because it's black on black, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a hatch. Yeah, I'm going to hatch this. Just do very simple hatching. Just to add a layer of shade to that nose on that side. Dead easy. Now underneath there, because this is what I said about the black line, that's all in shadow. All that is going to be in shadow because all this is three-dimensional. So that light's going to hit that. It's going to shadow that all underneath there, which gives me an added problem, interestingly, which is good because that's what you need to see. You need to see problem solving. Look at his arm. This fella's arm is sticking right out there. So what do you do about that if it's going to all be black down there? Well, I'll show you what I'll do. I'll just sit the black off his arm like that. There you go. And I'll do that all the way around. So I'll do it there as well. There you go. And then there's one more plane. I'll do it there and I'll... There you go. Good, right. So I've got all that underneath black shadow in there. Let's look at this side of his head. On a bit of secondary light. Again, that's right up against this black. So I'm going to pull the shadow off the side of his head there. Leave a little bit of white in there. This is trickier, but that line there, it's not really that important to me. What is important to me, more important to me, is this stuff down here, because this is getting very detailed down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit the shadow and have a go. Now this is just experimentation, mind. I'm going to sit the shadow off there, and I'll probably hatch it in there like that a little bit, and hopefully that will work. Because, you know, I'm using guesswork a lot of the time, like we all are. So yeah, there, I'm going to kill that line. Don't care about it. I don't care enough about that line there. So I want to keep it, to fight to keep it. Right, there we go. There's that line in there. And there's that, like that. Yeah, you liking this? And then, so I said I wasn't going to do, no, I didn't say I'd do no hatching. I said I probably wouldn't do much in the way I hatch. I'm not doing too much. I mean, honestly, I'm not great at hatching, which is why I often don't do it. But you can just add a bit here and there every so often. See, if I was a hatcher, I'd do hatching in there as well, because that would soften that line. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. So there you go. Hardline blacked all that. I do it on his hat. I do the same principle. Leave a little bit of secondary light source on the side so you don't kill that line completely, because it's up against hard black. Take that up there. There you go. Then you get into his collar. Decisions have to be made here. And it's things like, okay, what you know, do you want, what's the shape of the collar? Is it cylindrical? Is it a cute? I mean, the easiest shapes always, if I put a line in there, right, like that, then suddenly you think, oh, wait a minute, that's a bit like a cube. Can you see that? That's your top plane. That's your sorry, that's not very clear. That's, if I turned it that way, can you see that? It's like, it's shaped suddenly like a cube. If I was to put a plane in there and a plane like there, you go, oh, that's a cube. So light hits this one a bit less, which means that this gets a bit more shade. Can you understand that? Now it's complicated, a bit more complicated, because the further round this object you get, the less the less light this object gets. We've also got the added complication of this arm in the way, so that's all right. If I was to do it, this is where composition comes in very handy. Just to black that top line in like that. That does mean I have to black everything underneath it, so that's slightly pointless. Okay, stay with me, stay with me. I'm trying to keep you in the loop here, and I'm trying to solve the problems in my head, so just stay with me, stay with me. Let's just drop a load of black in there. Drop a load of black in there. Can you see how you start to lose shape really quickly when you drop black in? It starts to kill everything, and it's like, oh God, hang on, we're losing detail. But I can sacrifice a bit of detail there, because I'm going to win some back in a minute, hopefully. So here, if I set that like that, if I kind of go like that, and then I could just sort of use lines to denote a gradation of light. And then what I'd do here, I'd slightly cheat it, basically. So I'd curl that a line like that, a shadow like that, will fool the brain into thinking that that is curved. And then I just, what is that? Oh, this is strap right. Don't forget, once you've killed the white, you ain't getting it back unless you put a white line over it. So, err on the side of caution. What I tend to do is I tend to sort of play with stuff like that. And so I'm putting thick lines in there, like that, that will slowly become thinner. Like that. That, until finally they get to the thinnest bit and they peter out. So you get a gradation. And it fools the eye, because it's a curved line, fools the eye into thinking that that is a curved object. And again, if you start scrutinising the detail, you start going, what's that? But generally, we tend not to. Now, okay. Now you get down the arm. Now you have to make decisions around this sort of stuff as well, which is, do I shade this skull or do I keep it flat? Because what I could do here, and what I probably would do here, is, so I'd do the same thing with the secondary light on this sleeve. This would all be black. I'll black that in because, don't forget, it's furthest away from our light source anyway. This bit is tucked away underneath him, so that is all going to be black. Very dark, really dark. Yeah, and I can't see any of that being any lighter than that, really. Again, if I was to think, well, maybe I could maybe I could hatch that, because as it comes down in, maybe there's more light being thrown on it. So what about if I gave it, hang on, use this one. What if I gave it a nice heavy hatch down there? I can do that, you see. Then go back to my fine liner, much lighter hatch. Do that, because the thing is, if I look at that and think, actually overall I quite like that, brilliant, I've had a go. If I don't like it, just go with me black, kill it. Oh, sorry, you can't see that very well, can you? I'm working down there. Yeah, I could just go back in with the black if I don't want it, and kill it stone dead. Once the white is gone, you're done. Let's go back in on this bit. So, see this little zip hanging down? Just put an edge on that. There. So, strictly speaking, again, light's coming there. That plane is black. Again, look at it's a cube, isn't it? Side furthest away is the darkest. It's this one. Sometimes if I ink in, you might notice that I just leave tiny bits of white, because it can create quite a nice effect. There goes a black curving shadow, as if that's to sort of denote that the shape underneath is curved. There we go. Now, The zip is trickier because you can see the way the zip is going. It's showing you folds in the the only way you can do this is to cross hatch. You can't do it with black because it's not that dark. Yeah. Yeah, if you were to black that in, it would just look terrible. Okay. Good, okay. So generally, I mean this is very what we call big picture, if you like. It's a big picture idea of how you do hardline shading with very minimal crosshatch. I could do a lot more than I'm doing now, as you might imagine, and I often do, depending on what I'm doing. But when I sketch in blackline, I often I can put quite a bit of hatch in sometimes. In fact, I was doing one recently. I was sketching a skull out recently, and I put, for me anyway, I put quite a lot of hatch on it. I'll show you. So this is a sketch that I did in all in black ink. It's a great exercise to work in black ink sometimes, just see what you could do. And I put quite a lot of hatch in. I could have put a lot more in, but that's still quite a lot for me because I like to work in hard line. I like to work in colour value, but that's a fair amount for me. But I often use like single hatch as well, which is just lines. Because if you work on a very fine line, then you can work with single hatch, and it's quite nice. And also, I love scribble, as you can see. I love scribble, and you can start to sort of just slightly denote shapes and things with scribble, stuff like that. Try it for yourself. This I've done very, as you can see, very hard line shading, lots and lots of black. But I'm going to leave it there. I could do a lot more, obviously. I could do it all on his hand and everything, but you get the picture, right? Same things apply. You're looking for planes, you're looking for shapes, you're looking for those spheres, looking for sphere shapes, you're looking for cylinders, you're looking for cubes. So that the arm is a cylinder again. The body is essentially a cylinder. That arm is a cylinder. His thumb there is a cylinder. That's either a cylinder or a sphere. There's an obvious cylinder, the marker. An obvious cube, which is the nib. All his fingers are cylinders. You're getting this, aren't you? You can see what I mean. So anyway, go away, try it for yourself. Give it a go. Try some black line shading. Remember this thing I said about light. So that looks like a white line that I've put in there, but actually it's a black line that I've taken black up to and then pulled the shadow off the edge of it there. And what you get is you get this lovely white here that's yeah, and you can play with it more as well. You can start to like if I was to like say drop a grey in there or something as a secondary. I've got a bit of grey here, look. If I was to drop a little secondary sort of grey in, can you see how effective that is? Get this lovely sort of greying. You've got to have a go at this. So it just kills that white there, keep the white there. Suddenly you've got a really, really nicely lit character. Much moodier. Much moodier. I didn't really talk about this bit up here. This is sticky, you see, because this is right under the brim of his hat. So really that needs to be shaded up there as well. You put some shade in there. You put a bit more up there. But frankly, anything that works, you know, just I use lots and lots of cheats with my work. Loads of my work is by using cheats when it comes to shadow, because if you're selling an illusion to the human brain, is what you're doing. That's all you're doing. If the human brain will buy it, then it's as simple as that. It's like, well, good, job done. I'm now looking at this hatching. I want to do more hatching. Right. So what I'm doing now is I'm cross hatching. Not very neatly, but neat is not my forte, as you will all know by now. That's all a bit, yeah. It's all a bit rough, but never mind. I didn't intend to do much hatching at all there, so the fact I've done any is kind of something. Anyway, there you go, guys. I'm going to leave it there. If you've got one of these books, go have a bit of fun with it. If you don't, then get sketching and do some of your own stuff. And I will see you in the next one.